Hello and welcome to WWE Aftershock, whatever it's called. LOPR Radio Aftershock, WWE TLC 2019. Warning before we get into this, I've had a little bit of the bubbly. I've had a little bit of a drink just to get me through this in the Christmas spirit, so this may be a interesting show, I guess. On top of the fact that it is also 3:25 in the morning, and I've just tested that my audio is working, so that's great, so I can hear myself back whilst I'm talking. This is really weird. There we go. I should turn off now. Thank God. Right, so things first, I want to say, so Sam is messaging me a few things just to get out before I properly say it. So first off, Tables, Ladders and Chairs are just finished. Mental, a little bit crazy. In the show, I'm going to go through it all, talk about what happened and crazy thoughts, get all of your thoughts in as well. If you're listening on Spreaker, or if you're listening here on Laws of Pain, or hell, if you just want to type something on the results of Laws of Pain, it's a post itself, feel free to do so, because it's an interesting ending, this one. I reckon it's got quite a few reactions, I guess. Also, just want to say the end of year voting, because this is the end of 2019. This was the final pay-per-view of the year. At the end of year voting is about to go live on Laws of Pain Radio as well, so either whilst you're listening to this or after you've done so, just go right over there and do the voting. Whatever the phrase is. Do it. Do that. No. Anyway, I think I need to do like a calmer opening, which isn't as rambling, random, and tired, drunk sounding. I guess in a way. Anyway, let's do a proper opening, yes. Hello and welcome to LOP Radio Aftershock for WWE TLC 2019. My name is Matt Maher, aka Imp, and it is time to review the final pay-per-view of the year, the final WWE pay-per-view of the decade, the final Aftershock of the decade, a show which was not started by me. The great Stephen Bell got this going, and I've just been filling in for him for this last half of the year as life's got hectic, so yeah, I get knackered doing these. I'm English, so by the fact that this show was shorter is great. The show itself, an interesting one. Also, you can hit me up on Twitter at the damn Implicat. I'm just awkwardly reaching over my laptop to just go to notifications because I'm getting buzzed during a show, which normally at 3:30 in the morning. Yes, there's a few wrestling things, but my phone doesn't really buzz at 3:30. I'm English. People are what we call asleep, so I don't really get too much going on. Anyway, let's go on with the show because it was quite a bit going on, and I am, a little bit tired. I want to get to bed. I've got stuff to do. It's Christmas week. Stuff is crazy during Christmas week. I can't wait to get to bed. So, let's talk about that final match. So, I need to talk about the show overall first. Tables, Ladders and Chairs. Overall for me, a great first hour. Really enjoyed the first hour. The first two matches especially were brilliant. Really liked them. There was a fair bit of, I guess, middle, slower chunk that I didn't really like. Wasn't really for me. So I don't know if a lot of it was personal preference, or I guess like Rusev Lashley, not my thing. I can't really judge it fairly because from minute one that feud's not been for me, so I've just not watched it. It's like I've chosen to not watch it because I know it's not for me. I'm not going to purposely watch something that I'm not going to enjoy and just moan about on Twitter. It's like that is the only result of that, so I just don't watch it. So I saw the second half of it because I needed to get like a charger for my laptop and get this show kind of organised so I can get on with it. But yeah, overall, first hour great, second hour kind of slow. I loved Ms. Wyatt. We'll get to that in a second. I know that stuff's not for everyone, and I was hoping the final would be awesome, but instead it was just messy and weird, and I don't know if the brawl was like the decided ending, or if that was, this is a mess, let's get the brawl out there to send the crowd off hot so they've got something. I don't know, it was really weird. I don't know if that's just me. Could it be just me? I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so before we get into things, again, the Laws of Pain end of year voting is going live very, very soon, so do get to voting on that. I've already done it because I test ran it. So my vote's already in. I've already put all my stuff in. You can... Spoilers, just listen to my show from this past week. I'm live every Thursday on LOP Radio. I've done 2 end-of-year shows where I pretty much spoil every kind of result I could say. But yes, The way this show went off air is worth talking about because it was really weird. It's not like the Hell in a Cell kind of anger-inducing where I'm expecting many people to tune into this show. It was more of a, that was odd. Right, I'm going to go to bed. That kind of feeling. Like, as soon as that show ended, I was just ready for bed. Like, I wasn't particularly... I didn't want to get on this show and really get anything off my chest. I wasn't feeling super excited about checking out Raw tomorrow just to see the aftermath of anything. I was just tired. Like, oh, well, I'm happy to tune out now. Which is an odd feeling. It was just messy and not together, and it didn't really build anything for me. It's an odd feeling to have after a WWE show. Normally it makes me feel one way or the other. This time, no, it was just weird. A weird ending. So, Kabuki Warriors versus Lynch and Flair. First off, it kind of like the build and everything and how the rest of the show went. I kind of felt like, yeah, this one 100% deserved to be the main event of the show. No real qualms there at all. That is kind of how I felt going in. It was like during the entrances as well. I was like, yeah, this is great, this is fine. It's definitely worth the main event spot over like everything else I've seen, and didn't really feel like anything else trumped it. 2 years in a row main eventing for 3 of these women, which again, that's kind of cool to see that kind of consistency as well. The Kabuki Warriors have become one of WWE's coolest acts. Such an awesome act together they are. And this match kind of started aggressive as hell. Asuka getting launched into a pyramid of chairs, Kairi back and forth across the announce tables. The start of this match was great. I really enjoyed it. The champions doing their best to try and get back into the match, including a lovely moment with them posing around a recently weaponized chair. But really, Lynch and Flair dominated the first little portion, including double whammies onto the ring posts. Then, speaking of lovely moments, then they did kind of get into it. We got Yeehaw Asuka. So this is where stuff started to get weird, but it was still entertaining weird. It was like, what's going on, but still entertaining enough. So we got, actually I might have missed a bit. I can't remember when Yeehaw Asuka was, because there's an important thing that happens where Kairi Sane is at ringside, chucking chairs at and into the ring. One chair bounces off the ring. It's not really caught on camera, but she chucks a chair into the ring ropes. It bounces off and hits Kairi Sane in the face. But it's kind of played off as it's a distraction that stops them from climbing the ladder, and it works in that manner. They can work around that. If she was meant to chuck it in the ring and it hit them, then that's then it didn't go that way. Yeah, but they worked around it well enough. The match isn't falling apart yet. It's still fine. You can work around that. We got Yeehaw Asuka with her spinning the rope above her head. That was not an image I was expecting in a tables, ladders and chairs match. I'm not going to lie. But the thing that made me laugh during that moment, we got Yeehaw Asuka as she was swirling, as Vic put it on commentary, some kind of rope. Who are these script writers? It's for me, the running joke of this night was somebody would bring out a weapon and he'd go, it said it in the Miz versus Bray Wyatt as well. He pulled the mallet out, Bray Wyatt, and I can't remember which commentator, it must have been Michael Cole. Michael Cole went, it's some kind of mallet. No, it's a mallet. There's kind of Asuka. Vic said it as well in this match. It was like, Asuka's got some kind of rope. Who are these script writers? It's a rope. It made me laugh. I had fun with it. So I'm still enjoying the match at this point. I've not tuned out. I'm feeling, it's a bit chaotic. It feels a bit random. Maybe there's been 1 or 2 things that didn't go to plan, but it's fine at the moment. I'm still enjoying it. Random, but fine. It's not the end of the world. I'm still enjoying myself. But yes, we also got that awesome moment with Kairi kind of trying to laugh off the fact that she hit a spinning net breaker and her leg landed on the ladder and with a bit of an ouchie. And Kairi Sane then just went, ha! It's just that's both adorable and quite funny as well. So, we got that moment. I'm just also, if you're listening on Spreaker, there is a chat function on there as well if you click on the speech bubble. I need to remember to plug that bit. There's YouTube and everything going along, and in fact I'm knackered. But yeah, so that was kind of cool. But in this moment, this is when the Kabuki Warriors tactics come out. So this is where you start to get a little bit more random. Charlotte gets trapped into a commentator's chair, like the comfy ones, the big comfy gaming ones, via a kendo stick. So it's quite easy to get out of, but it works for the time being. Then Becky is with the rope tied to a ladder that was ringside. So she's now lying on her back, rope tied to a ladder. So it's an interesting visual. With the idea of, oh, surely they're going to climb the ladder now. Nope, by the time they've done Becky and kind of got into the ring to do anything, Charlotte's there to distract them. Charlotte gets taken down because it's just way too many odds, as kind of was painted on Raw in the build to this match. And the Kabuki Warriors get on top of Charlotte. She doesn't really fight her way back in. Eventually, they kind of work their way round back to Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch ends up fighting back, getting free after a little bit of the rope is loosened by Charlotte, but not actually untied. So, Becky spent ages on that rope, on that ladder, tied by that rope. It was just stuck there. It was kind of funny, just a little bit of, oh, is this the match now? And eventually she'll break free or something. It's like, no, it built from there. But Becky Lynch, the idea of Becky Lynch is tied to the ladder. As soon as she breaks free, Havoc is wrecked. And that's kind of where it started to go as well. Asuka, it was going to build after that with Becky kind of beating the crap out of them. Asuka was then lying on a table on the outside. And am I forgetting the spot again as well? I think, if I'm right, there's a... Because at this moment, there's two people on a table as well. I think I must have missed a bit. Because I thought the leg drop was whilst Kairi was already out of it. Unless I'm forgetting something. Actually, let's talk about the leg drop first. So, Asuka is lying down on the table. Becky Lynch from Brett's second rope jumps off to the outside, onto the ringside table, and goes crashing through Asuka. And in a bit of an oof, Becky landed on Asuka's stomach via her butt, which meant that it was all of Becky's weight went kind of crashing through Asuka. And immediately, I was just like, oh, that must have hurt. All of Becky's weight going straight through Asuka. Like, oh, just give her a minute. Give her a minute to recover. But we start to enter a little bit of craziness because there's a spot with Becky and Charlotte both on the table on the other side of the ringside area. And then Kairi jumps off the apron through the table. Something doesn't go right. Either the table was meant to break, or Charlotte and Becky were both meant to roll off, or Charlotte was meant to roll off, but Kairi goes crashing through Becky. Whatever happened, Charlotte only just got off the table, might have got clipped. Kairi kind of bounced on and then slid off the table weirdly, and Becky was just there. It's just kind of like, there were three people. How did that gimmick table not break? That's quite impressive. But after that, it was like they didn't know what to do. So I don't know if the match had already broken down, or if one of them got a concussion or something. Because Kairi looked a little bit off in this whole process. Like she didn't really know. She looked a bit lost and a bit kind of with difficulty. Asuka then later on kind of started guiding her around, it looked like. But of course, that's the team dynamic anyway, so me as a non-expert can't really point it out. But there was a really odd moment after that where Charlotte was down for a little while. Then eventually there was a table, or another table, set up by ringside. This crowd, the table was the most over thing this match. I'll get to that later when it starts like being an issue, whilst that wasn't really a thing with this match. So the table by the barricade, and Charlotte, the idea is just to lift up Kairi Sane, powerbomb her through it. Kairi Sane either was really struggling to get up, or really didn't want to take the powerbomb, or a mix of the two. Because of course, because she looked off, if she does have a concussion, she probably won't feel safe getting up for the powerbomb and going through a table right near a barricade. Either way, when Asuka went to pick her up later, she said something, evidently didn't look right, got up, evidently didn't look right. As she was walking about the ring, she didn't quite look right. Either like she was lost, like Asuka was constantly having to remind her what to do and kind of guide her a bit. Which, that's kind of why I was jumping to concussion. Because that's what, like, you're kind of just looking lost, just needing that guidance just because, yeah, your brain is just not in a great state. So you just need that kind of guidance to tell you what to do. Which is why I thought she had a concussion. That could be bollocks, but that was the feeling I was getting watching the match. And Kairi worked very quickly after this little segment because Asuka was guiding Kairi, and then Lynch and Charlotte came into the ring, had a little bit of a brawl. Kairi just looks a little bit Flair and Lynch get steel chairs and they go to hit them on Asuka and Kairi. Becky's is a little bit weak. Asuka's and Charlotte's is fine, but the crowd are starting to turn on this match because it evidently feels like a mess now. Like, just things are kind of happening, and it's a weird mixture of stuff. And Kairi obviously doesn't 100% look quite right. Something's not right with her. We get a vicious powerbomb with Charlotte. Also, it kind of felt like Charlotte was really angry at the way things were kind of going. Don't know if Charlotte could have been one of the people who also had a little bit of an injury or something. So maybe, yeah, I don't know. Either way, things were clearly not going to plan. Asuka is great in this circumstance. Like, she, out of all four of them, she was really the one where whenever she took over, things started to kind of get into a much better swing of things. But obviously that she can't run everything. She's meant to be the heel who's kind of out of action a fair bit. But she did do a very powerful looking powerbomb onto Charlotte, who was climbing up the turnbuckle, and then she hit a powerbomb to a table on the outside. Another table. Happy crowd. Be careful what you wish for, crowd. You get so many tables by the end of it. But yeah, Charlotte hit the ground with so much force. It was kind of devastating. But I will give a kind of positive throughout this mess. That the ending I did like. So Becky Lynch is climbing the ladder at the end. However, Asuka stops her by pulling on the still attached rope from way... Because it was the same ladder, it turned out. So Asuka pulled on the rope, yanked the ladder down, and Becky Lynch with it, then climbed and just unhooked. And that was the end of the match. So I did like that. The fact that they had that kind of big moment with Becky Lynch tied to the ladder. Then so much happens that you just kind of... even if you see the rope on the ladder, you're kind of like, well, it's just there, they're going to move on, it's fine. But no, it played back into the match, and Asuka won via that same rope. So yes, I like that idea. That wasn't really like the end of the world for me. But just to add to the oddness, because clearly that match hadn't gone to plan. Something had happened. Be it a concussion, be it an injury for somebody, or maybe multiple people, or they just lost the match. It happens sometimes in entertainment. You just lose the audience, you just lose your way. Unfortunately, it happened in a main event of a pay-per-view. But it does happen. In like all forms of entertainment by everybody. It's just a shame it was on this platform here. And I guess this second pay-per-view in a row where the women's match has kind of ended the match on a bit of a sour note. But just kind of to add to that, like I think it was either before this match or before Rusev Lashley. There was a brawl backstage between a load of SmackDown guys, and for some reason, like Street Profits doing a kind of segment to camera that explains why they were there. But it was all SmackDown guys brawling, like really like the people who've been involved in Roman Reigns versus Corbin, like all the people that branch out of that in the multi-man tag matches were there. For some reason, Buddy Murphy was also there. My assumption, because he was booked on the show, so he was there. That's all I can think of. That they needed an extra body. Flash forward to here, and suddenly I felt like within a second, but it was more likely within 5. It was quick. Within 5 seconds of Asuka unhooking the championships, and that's the end of the main event of the show. Those people who were brawling way before this match come out, continue to brawl throughout the arena, and we go off air with Roman Reigns spearing Baron Corbin onto a pile of bodies. To really send home everybody in a, wait, what? What did I just watch? That was so weird. Also, thank you, Sam. I've just seen you saying I'm doing well. When I'm this tired, I do need the I need the positive reinforcement. But yeah, I was so confused. That's kind of why I didn't know how to feel. Like when this match ended, I was just like, wait, what did I just watch? That was so weird. So they had this cluster F of a match. And then it ended when within 5 seconds the focus is immediately shifted to this brawl where Reigns spears Corbin off, and the commentators are like kind of screaming like, "Oh my god, what's happening? I can't believe what I'm seeing." Whilst my genuine reaction is, yeah, I can't believe what I'm seeing because it's so weird. Not because it's so awesome. It's not like a Vince McMahon in the 90s. Unbelievable. That was an awful impression. I'll try and do one at a normal time when I've actually got a throat. But yeah, it wasn't that kind of unbelievable. It was, I have no idea what's going on. This is so weird and so random. I don't really know what to say because, as I was saying, like after this pay-per-view ended, I wasn't really angry at it. I was just kind of slightly confused and ready for bed. Like, I guess this is probably what it's like to feel older. Just something like this, and I'm just like, oh, oh, I'm just ready for bed, guys. Oh, that'd be nice. Oh, just, God, do I really have to talk about this show for the next hour of my life? So yeah, it was fine. Nothing crazy. I was just ready for bed. So that's the end of that. Anyway, on to, I guess, the rest of the card. I'm going to start going through the card in order now, from, I guess, first match to Rusev Lashley. So, if any of you have got thoughts on the main event I've just talked about and the way it went off air, am I the only one that was just left with that feeling of, right, I'll tune out then. I'm also in, I guess one thing that really adds to that is I am mentally already in Christmas mode. Like, I'm already tuning out for the holidays. I'm wanting to kind of like, in terms of work, I can feel that my effort's kind of slipping away a little bit. The time as well with it, in terms of like this stuff for Laws of Pain, that the time is also slipping away. Like, I am ready for tuning out for Christmas, turning off from work and just having a little bit of fun from like now until the end of the year. Mentally, I'm there. However, this week, I've still got TLC here. I've still got stuff to do throughout the entire week, building up to it. I've got my own show on Thursday. He's like, yeah, I've got quite a bit happening before Christmas. I've also got Star Wars. That's like the end of the week. I didn't mean to go on I didn't book the tickets. I'm not a massive Star Wars nerd. My brother booked the tickets. Turns out I'm going on the release day for the movie. Like, I'll probably be in there with genuine fans. And I'm just like, I don't hate the films, but I'm not somebody who would purposefully book tickets on opening day kind of excited for it. I'll probably need to rewatch them to actually know what's going on. I'm that kind of level where it's been a few years, I don't know anything, I'm going to have to rewatch them. I've not played the game either, so I've not had the world kind of put back on me. Anyway, there's a massive tangent talking about Star Wars next week. This week, it's this Friday. Ladder match was the opening match. The SmackDown Tag Team Championships, New Day versus The Revival. As I said at the start of the show, I was genuinely really enjoying the show. The first hour especially, I thought was top notch. I thought it was great. I do apologise if I just made a massive noise. But yeah, I genuinely enjoyed the first hour of this show. The first two matches in particular were great. This felt like, I was going to say this year, but I'm thinking maybe Backlash, but it might have been more of a trope of 2018 than 2019. But it was those pay-per-views where, like, the first hour was solid. It was fantastic. Maybe even all the way to, like, an hour and a half. The pay-per-views were great. They were solid. Fantastic. I'm repeating myself. But that second half of the pay-per-view, where they got into, like, the main event with all the stories, it kind of turned into nonsense. And it was just really weird. It felt like overbooked stuff, and that's when their actual stories kicked in over the top of the wrestling, and the second half of the pay-per-views kind of fell apart. Like that kind of overthinking it too much. Like, oh, we need to kind of revamp things and fix things, therefore we need to do better and do all this stuff. And I don't know if that caused a little phase of overthinking it, and the second half of pay-per-views suffered because of that. That's why I'm thinking 2019 in my head is that feeling that wasn't there. I'm thinking that was a last year thing. Because it definitely improved this year in a lot of it, specifically the second half of this year. For me, I loved Rumble to WrestleMania. From WrestleMania to whatever pay-per-view was before SummerSlam, for me, was rubbish. It got to the point where I stopped watching. So, like, it got bad. And from, I guess, that pay-per-view to SummerSlam, it started to pick up. And from SummerSlam to around here, like, a lot of things have improved. So you can at least follow it. There is now continuity from week to week out, just outside. Like, the main storylines often did, but in terms of character continuity, as well as arcs and things, like, things flow on. The pay-per-view is not the end of something, it's kind of the continuation or kind of next building moment. So yeah, the product as a whole is in a much better place. But that doesn't change the fact that, yeah, so these pay-per-views kind of, they're a similar thing to me, where the first half, or at least the first hour, I was really enjoying myself. Then the end of it, towards there, it's really weird. It's all over the place. Like, New Day Revival. Let's put on the New Day Revival. If I can bloody remember where I put them. Right, New Day Revival. This match was bloody fantastic. A top draw opener. Hell of a match. Bloody great stuff. Kofi taking the titles down by himself was somewhat of a nice, I guess, consolation for what he's been met with since losing the WWE Championship. But Kofi Kingston in a ladder match, if there's one upside to about his current situation, it's how damn creative the man gets with his athleticism in ladder matches. So many awesome spots throughout the years. No difference here. Like one of the earlier ones was just him avoiding the ladder, being super athletic. Like him jumping, I think it was on the outside, and Wilder, Wilder and Dawson. Wait, what order do you say their names? Dawson and Wilder were gonna run the ladder into him, and he jumped over the ladder and over the bottom rope and just rolled into the ring. It's like, oh, that was awesome. That was so cool. Also, he also jumped over the top rope and seesawed the ladder into Dawson Wilder's face, but falling down to the outside. That was also awesome. He's from his first Money in the Bank ladder match all the way to here in 2019. He's been so damn creative in those matches. He's such a huge addition. Actually, I think his first one might have been WrestleMania 10 years ago. So a full decade of awesome Kofi spots that transitioned to the Royal Rumble. But if there's one thing that is still the case, it's that Kofi Kingston in a ladder match is still great. He's still got it, still awesome. Towards, I'm trying to think of another spot. There was one more where Kofi Kingston was climbing the ladder, and then the Revival came, pushed the ladder over. Kofi landed feet first onto the ropes, and then rebounded off into a spinning tornado DDT onto Dawson. It's like, oh, that was great. And it was kind of showing how New Day and Revival together are both great. So it was, it was Kofi was the athletic kind of danger, and Big E was the muscle danger. So the Revival focused on the muscle, tried to take down Big E. A great sequence with the Revival trying to do exactly that, only for then Kofi to jump in the background with his athleticism off, or taking down the big man, but the athletic one is still there to climb the ladder. It's there's a lot for the Revival to try and handle in this match. I guess the next big moment was the return of the Langston with Big E hitting the big ending off the top of the ladder in a crazy spot. There was another spot earlier where he hit one hell of a spear through the ropes. It's just that is one of the most dangerous kind of moves he does. You always fear for him when he dives full pelt through the middle of those ropes, which means he's probably going to get injured rolling an ankle or something, just standard. He's going to pull a Neville. That's how Langston will get injured. Yeah, no matter, he throws caution to the wind, then it'll be something tiny. That's kind of... Oh, there's a saying here, but I'm way too tired to remember it. But so, yeah. And the ending came with Kofi smashing Dawson's head, or he smashed the bald lad's head on the top of the ladder, who then went crashing down through a ladder which had already had Big E Langston fall onto it earlier. And that was how the match ended. Kofi pulled down the titles, New Day won, full as hell opener. Highly recommend this match. First two matches, highly recommend. It was a fantastic first hour, and this match was such a great opener. Side note, of course, there were chants of "We want tables" during the start of this match. You know, in the ladder match, announced in the arena as a ladder match, with ladders all around ringside and the staging area. And on the graphic for the match, it says, ladder match, with ladders to the left, to the right, behind them. And the crowd are chanting, "We want tables." A certain Daniel Bryan quote comes to mind. I don't remember where they were. I wanted to say Minnesota, but because I've not looked it up, I'm not going to dirty the name of Minnesota. I don't actually know who it was. Yeah, it was... I generally enjoy this match, but that "We want tables" chant, it's become a pet peeve of mine. So, after this, we got a King Corbin promo of, he's a king now. So he talks about the crowd being peasants and refers to the WWE world as his kingdom. Because, guys, he's no longer playing a king. His character is actually a king now. His servants generally do pick his cutlery up off the floor if he drops it. It's not a guy who won King of the Ring and then his ego just got inflated to quite a comedic, villainous kind of level. No, he's actually a king. So, for me, that's a very WWE thing to do. It's not something that I'm going to throw a massive fit over, but I do find it kind of funny tracking it like that. The message is still, as he's delivering the promo, all I'm thinking is, God, that opener was great. And this is kind of Time for it to go down. It's better than, I guess, an advert where I'm going to 100% tune out. Number 2, Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy. This was flipping fantastic. V-Trigger versus Black Mass, or that's what I was expecting. It more became V-Trigger versus Aleister Black's own knees and quick combos that were awesome to watch. It started off on a great note as well, with both men sitting cross-legged in the ring. Buddy Murphy came out first, and he kind of sat cross-legged. I just wasn't expecting him to stay that way the entire time. So Aleister Black then jumps over the top rope and also sits. So they're both sat there with their legs crossed, staring at each other. I was like, oh, that was such an awesome visual. Followed by one hell of a match with both lads kicking the hell out of each other. Aleister Black at some point got his nose broken. I might have missed it because I was typing up my notes. He got blood all over his face. Murphy also came out looking like a badass. He absolutely took it to the Dutchman. So many stiff knees, quick dodges, cool as hell combos. Like, it wasn't just... Like, Buddy Murphy kind of also wrestled Aleister Black's style. And they both stepped up and matched each other. It was... I bloody loved this match. It was so much fun. Also, the final sequence... I can't ignore that there was the cheeky Nando's kind of with Buddy Murphy with the broken nose of Aleister Black with blood everywhere. He then continued to kick him in the face. It just really added to it. But the final sequence had both men dodging everything, just throwing arms, quick fists, knees blocked. Both men dodging it all until Aleister Black swung back round with a Black Mass out of nowhere to knock the Aussie out cold. 1, 2, 3, and that was it. It's like, that ending felt great. And towards the end of it, you did get Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy rivaling chants, which was such a change from the start. Because, yes, of course, at the start of the match, there was also "We want tables" chants in this standard contest. The crowd came for one thing. I think it's pretty clear what they wanted. As I was talking about the main event earlier, be careful what you wish for, crowd. You'll get an over surplus of tables by the end of it. But yeah, seriously, this match was amazing. It was just a bit irritating that it wasn't just the tables that they were chanting for. The crowd seemingly couldn't have given less of a crap, and they were quite quiet for most of it, which was I felt a little bit disappointed in that. But also, it did make a lot of sense, just because, well, what reason have they been given to care about either of these characters? And over the past couple of years, WWE have built up this expectation that these characters in this kind of mid-card area, they're not really going to be featured by the next pay-per-view, and if they are, they'll be lower down fodder. So why bother getting invested in these characters that won't matter within a month's time? That can change with consistency, and as I think I said before, this second half of the year, they've started to become a lot better at that. But that feeling is still there, and these two characters haven't been given a reason for us to care for. They have done in the build to this pay-per-view, but the other consensus is once this pay-per-view's over, we expect that to not be the case anymore. They'll kick into WrestleMania, both these guys will just disappear like they don't matter. That's what we expect. But WWE can easily change that by not forgetting about them and continuing to feature them and kind of continue them in storylines. Doesn't have to be the same storyline, but have them doing something as they build into the Royal Rumble. So it's not. I would 100%. I'll say this. It's not the fans' fault. There are a lot of things you can contribute to them not caring about this match. If this was in NXT, they would have gone mental. Like, if it was the same build, like exact same scenario, and they put on this kind of match, the NXT crowd would have ate it all up. But this isn't an NXT crowd, because these were chanting for tables. This kind of showed it. They came for one thing. They wanted tables. It didn't matter how great a story they told, or how fantastic a back and forth battle it was. They didn't care. They came for tables. They were going to get their tables, or damn it, they were going to leave or something. I don't know. It was sure an interesting reaction, I guess. So well done, guys. But yeah, another fantastic match. I have to realise I didn't switch the graphic. So here's my proof that I bloody got it. There you go. I had to talk about the entire match without it up. But I bloody got the graphic. But yeah, I didn't particularly find too much issue with the crowd. It was just a little bit of a distraction, and kind of I try to think of reasons why it was that way. Like, also, why don't they care rather than they don't care? Well, why is that? And really, it's just many factors. They've done a decent job recently of trying to build a reason for you to care, and it led it into the story of this match really well. It's just after this pay-per-view, we've been kind of conditioned to not expect it to continue, so why bother getting invested? That's the feeling I got from this crowd. Why bother when they're not going to matter within a month? They can change that by within a month, they still matter. Not that difficult. Right, next match, whose graphic I will remember to put up. It's the Viking Raiders. Don't know why I say it like that. Anyway, the Raw Tag Team Championships Open Challenge, the Viking Raiders versus the OC, or as I called it, Chekhov's Chicken Table. Which, I say I called it. I called it that, I typed it on my notes, then I went to Twitter and I was like, oh, everybody's called it that. Everybody's like, before this match they showed us this KFC table at a tables, ladders and chairs pay-per-view. I'm sure it'll last. It'll go really, really well. So, one thing I didn't realise until during the match, I must have been busy, and I only saw the close-up shot. But it was that realisation of, that table is so close to the ring. Not only is it Chekhov's table because they introduced it, they also put it right next to the ring. Just to think, oh, they are going to immediately fire this Chekhov table. It's going to be. I'll be surprised. His question was, does it happen during the match or after it? That was the only question I had. It's like, yes, I'm sure the table's going to end perfectly fine on a pay-per-view that's all about people going through tables. It'll be fine. But it turned out that the surprise guest team was the OC, who'd won a tag team World Cup. Was that in Saudi Arabia? I can't quite remember. So they were using that to show that, no, we're deserving. I was like, yeah, I'm fine with that. The match itself, though, it was very, I guess, a Raw Tag Team Championship match. Like, nothing bad, but there was very little in the ways of interest in what was actually going on. Like, I never really got fully in... Didn't get that much into it. It was just stuff happening. And out of all the match... sorry, I'm just a bit of an idiot. But yeah, throughout the entire match, I was just thinking, when are they going through the table? Because that's what you've told me before the match, is somebody's going to be going through a table. You've not directly said it, but you've shown me it's going to happen. All the pieces are there. He's just waiting for the gun to be fired. And therefore, throughout the match itself, didn't particularly care too much. And out of all the matches, I didn't catch the fans chanting for tables in this one. It's the first one with a table actually right there in front of them, and this is the one they don't chant it for. I don't understand this crowd. It's so weird. And then this match ended in a double countout. Yay! For a match I only had semi-interest in. I guess this one might continue tomorrow, especially as to what happened next. Because there's not really much to say here. Oh wait! The chicken table. So even though it ended in double countout, you can immediately see, oh yeah, the idea then is to get a lot of heat back and they can end on a happy note after putting the OC through a table. Which is exactly what happened. A little bit of sadness that they brushed the chicken off the table first and then put them through. It's like, just use plastic plates and slam them onto the chicken. What's wrong with that? It was a Kentucky Fried table for Anderson, and suddenly the last 5 to 10 of my life were all worth it. Right, crowd? Did you like your table? Are you happy now? This is where I started to break. The second hour. You can probably tell. It's like, yes, the pay-per-view might have started to get to imp a little bit here. Just a little bit. So, here we go with the halfway point. Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin. And I'm just going to quickly check that everything is still running because I've got a lot of things going on. I'm not very good at multitasking when I'm this tired. Right, everything's still up. You can calm down. Right. It's tables, ladders and chairs. Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin. Match number 4. For me, perfect card placement. It also is enough of the card still left so when the next TLC match happens. And it's long enough after the ladder match. Well, it doesn't really matter for this one. This was more a This was the most no DQ, no holds barred kind of brawl of a tables, ladders and chairs match that I've seen. I don't think any tables, ladders and chairs match has been, I guess, so undeserving. I meant because they did technically use all those weapons, but they were part of other weapons as well. So it's more like a no DQ match. It wasn't really, when I say not worthy of the name, I mean, well, because it didn't really have any purpose to, because they did more than tables, ladders and chairs. It didn't really involve them, because at least the main event had that focus of at least the titles were above the ring. Just like you got your standard ladder match or your initial TLC matches. This was just a brawl with no DQ and no holds barred stuff. It's odd. The only reason that it's called TLC, it was a TLC match, was because of the pay-per-view. In any other pay-per-view, this would have just been in a no DQ, no holds barred match or something like that. No countouts, false count anywhere. That this match fit that perfectly. Not I don't know. Is it just because it's new, therefore I feel like I can't compete with it, right? Because they haven't done a TLC match like this before. So am I criticising it because it's not what I'm expecting? Or am I criticising it because it was just a bit odd, and why not just make it no DQ? I don't know which side I fall on. It's another one. This is the first example of the night also, where because the storyline's not been for me, there is that mist in front of me where I'm coming into the pay-per-view having not enjoyed the build, so there is that mist in front of me. Which is kind of something for somebody like me who talks about this stuff to kind of keep kind of a mind of that. It's not a bias, but it is. It will influence my viewing. The fact that I've not enjoyed the build, therefore I can try and put it in the back of my mind, but it's there. That well, if I don't enjoy this either, then I've not enjoyed it from start to finish. Compared to, maybe I didn't enjoy the build, but the match was fine on pay-per-view kind of thing. Also, thank God, after this pay-per-view, we're on the road to WrestleMania, so WWE can stop treading water with Reigns. I'm genuinely looking forward to how a Roman Mania run, when he's actually over, goes. If there's been one success of this feud, is that it's helped Roman Reigns stay over. Well, it's really weird, actually, because throughout the entire summer, throughout the feud with Daniel Bryan, throughout the feud with Corbin, Reigns' stories, they haven't actually been very good. But, well, okay, I guess personal taste coming in. But in terms of, I guess, critique in terms of measuring all the components of it, they've just not been carried out very well. But it's like Roman Reigns has found himself, and of course the fans are really behind him. So it's kind of like he himself has found his character. He's finally nailed the Reigns character, and they're not pissing about with the Reigns character anymore. He has got it solidly, and I feel like it's really working. He's building momentum to the Royal Rumble in the background pretty well. But his stories have been crap. It's an odd one. Because normally the stories and the character get tied to each other, but the Reigns character has finally found itself. And it's really easy to get behind. But the stories have been not good. The content for the villains, not good. The content for Reigns as well, not good. But he's nailed his character. So I can get behind him. Which is a massive difference from the past, where I struggled to get behind the character itself. Now, the kind of badass version that he's got, where he's properly leaning into the no-nonsense, the badass character, and it's really working. It's just, I wouldn't mind a decent story with it. It's just personal preference. It really wouldn't help. But that's what I'm looking forward to after this. Because the Royal Rumble, I'm expecting Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble. I could be wrong, but that's my expectation. And to have a strong run to WrestleMania. Finally have him have his crowning moment properly against a modern-day star or something like of that ilk. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's how nice to be in the land of positivity for the big dog. Even if his storylines have been pretty damn bad quality. They've kept him over, so technically they've worked. Oh, and we say Vince doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, he's kept him over, therefore nothing could have been bad. Going into this match, this was my top nominee for WWE shenanigans, with just stuff coming in with loads of interference and random angle stuff. The other nominee was Rusev versus Lashley. In reality, there was nonsense, but I wouldn't call it shenanigans. There's a weird divide between the two. Shenanigans is fun nonsense that happens, and I'd probably say Rusev Lashley won that award tonight. Just fun nonsense. It was pure WWE kind of entertainment fun. This match was Triple H slow plodding for me, which again a bit unfortunate. So I generally went in expecting the fun shenanigan nonsense, but instead got slow Triple H match. Again, I wasn't expecting that. And I don't know how I feel, but I was bored while I was watching it, and the match was long, which has that aura of the kind of same feeling I had during Triple H matches. That's why I draw the comparison. Which was, I guess, yeah, a bit of a shame. We did get off to a good start with Corbin's Royal Guards running at Reigns up the ramp one by one like a kung fu movie. He's just chopping them down. That was awesome. One poor lad took a kind of table bump, as in he got caught on a chair that was on top of the table and then just kind of fell through the gimmick table. Sorry, he took a bump. I'm not sure it was definitely through the table. So the poor lad. Others went flying, and then Corbin came crashing in to take us into a brawl. through the crowd, eventually to the ring. The King hit an awesome deep six. It's like his signature moves now feel fantastic. We see more of those later in the match as well. Corbin was on top, and it was increasingly feeling like 10 minutes into this match, there was not a lot of TLC in this TLC match. It's just been a brawl through the crowd. But we did get stairs. Hashtag never forget. Corbin eventually starts laying into Reigns with a ladder. But without anything to climb, it was just used as another weapon. So it really did feel like a no DQ match. Reigns came back in after that kind of, I guess, side of the ring brawl. Eventually, Roman got back into the match, and it was 15 minutes in. It started to really feel like a standard Reigns match that we've seen many times before, where he gets a little bit in at the start, then the heel properly gets on top, and then he starts to build momentum, then goes into his final moves and wins. Like a very bog standard Reigns match is what it felt like at 15 minutes. I was wrong because there was additional 10 to come. So obviously something happened in that time. He ended up getting stopped in his tracks by Corbin, who hit one hell of a chokeslam onto the knee. It looked devastating. As I was saying, his signature moves look great now. But then he immediately paid for mocking Roman Reigns. He didn't follow the Jamie Vardy rules. Follow the Jamie Vardy rules, Baron Corbin. Realise I'm speaking to an American audience who don't get my Leicester City reference. We want tables returned again. Again, over this past year, that chant's really become a little pet peeve of mine, but at least it's relevant to this pay-per-view. But instead of a table, we got the Michael Cole call for the ages of, oh my god, and Corbin just hit Reigns with a can of dog food. What a call. It's just out of context where he's reacting so strongly to something so silly. It's stupid. Like, oh yes, the dog food thing. When we watch this match in years to come, the reaction will be, oh yeah, this was the dog food one. Ah yes. Anyway, then we did get Roman Reigns through a table. Are you happy now? I'll say Minnesota. I don't know if that's true. Corbin gets the message, and then after putting Roman Reigns through a table, then declutters the announce tables. He's heard the crowd. He knows what he's doing. He's going to get them into this match. But this is really when it hit me, when I really thought this match would be full of fun shenanigans. It might have been slowly building that way, but then it took a swerve. It just really wasn't. It ended up pretty slow and fine, like slowly moving from spot to spot. Like the crowd loved every spot, they nailed the spots, but I started to feel the tiredness in between. It's just such a long gap between each spot that it really slowed it down. I really felt those 25 minutes. Awesome moment though, with Baron Corbin launching one of the lads out of the timekeeper's area, sent him flying. That was awesome. But then we got the interferences. First, Dolph Ziggler with the cool super kick, stopping a Roman Reigns spear through the barricade. Then Corbin's guards came out. Then the Revival. The Revival are there for some reason. Am I missing something? Why are they there? Other than because they're heels. Why the Revival there? I must be forgetting something. That's really weird. But of course they're all out there because Reigns has got to jump over the top and fall onto a load of bodies. So you got to get, for that cool spot, you need to bring loads of randoms out. So still don't know why the Revival are there. But the match ends soon after that, as Roman Reigns is signalling for the end with the spear, Superman punch and whatnot. Ziggler then chucks a chair into Roman Reigns' face, stopping him in his tracks, followed by a shatter machine by the Revival. And then the end of days onto a chair, and that's it for Reigns. 1, 2, 3. Corbin wins. I was not expecting that, and I mean that in a negative way. I went in expecting this match maybe not to be for me, but it'll be fun WWE shenanigans stuff, and I can rate it on that, talk about that. But it wasn't that. This was way too slow for me. Ended with a really damp thud, and it was 25 minutes long, and I was really tired after it. Like, I went in with so much life, and I came out an old man. I was just tired. I hadn't really enjoyed those 25 minutes. I was kind of sad. I thought at some point it would enter fun shenanigans, but it didn't. It became overpowering with heels. Then Roman won. Like the reverse of last year with Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman, where Braun Strowman was injured, so the whole Raw babyface locker room came out and beat up Baron Corbin. It's around the time that they were doing the ratings are all Baron Corbin's fault. And then this year, they've done it again. What is wrong with you? Did you not learn from last year? Yeah. But personally, the reason I find this really weird is, in my head, if Roman Reigns is winning the Royal Rumble, then I don't quite understand taking the momentum away here, unless the idea is like Baron Corbin becomes prominent and in the Royal Rumble he's one of the favourites to win, but he isn't. Here's the other kind of big deal here. If this is the story, with Roman Reigns or Baron Corbin for the Royal Rumble, Corbin is never winning, and you're prolonging this feud rather than ending it now and letting Reigns kind of switch to the Rumble. Because I've just not been a fan of this. This is where the personal influence does come in. Because I've not been a fan of this feud, I'd be up for it ending as soon as possible. Therefore, Baron Corbin winning is not that. It means it prolongs it to the Royal Rumble because Baron Corbin is relevant. He's now got his army of buddies, and Roman Reigns has still got to fight against him and the Baron Corbin pals to win the Rumble. I'm still expecting Reigns to win the Rumble, but I'd rather it be against, I guess, level quality adversaries rather than Baron Corbin. Like if the final two are Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, or Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, some form of combo like that. Daniel Bryan might be... No, he's going to have a title match, he won't be there. But some form of combination like that, rather than Reigns overcoming the Corbin lot. It's like, yeah, that won't really go over. I remember how badly 2015 went over, where all the favourites got eliminated, then it was just Reigns getting rid of the authority. That didn't work. It's a fear that it might happen again, even though Reigns himself is in a much better place. That the ending of the Royal Rumble, like, yeah, don't mess it up. Ugh. Anyway, the match ended up just not being for me. I was extremely tired, extremely bored, wouldn't recommend it. But there are a lot of people who like these kind of Triple H slow podding matches. That is not for me. I get really bored. However, the complete flip. So there's 2 matches left on this show. We've had this match which wasn't for me. Then you got 2 more. One that is, and then one that couldn't be less for me. So first off, the Miz versus Bray Wyatt, which even though Rudy Charles, the referee, seemed to signify might be for the title, it wasn't, as far as I know. It was just a straight up match. And this couldn't have been any more different than the last match. For me, the Miz versus Bray Wyatt was WWE's style of storytelling at its finest, it was following what may have just been like a fantastic example as WWE's storytelling at its overthought worst. Wyatt coming out as the children's host version, all friendly and happy, and you can't take your eyes off of him. Like the crowd really dug it. He's coming out as the bad guy, but the way that he's acting, the crowd gets so behind him. I expected him to come out later and start doing it, but I love it. It was 100% the right thing to do. And him like saying, "Thank you guys," and waving to the crowd, posing for photos with his hand on his heart, like, "Oh, you guys." Turning back to smile at the audience, also popping back through the ropes for one more title raise pop. It's like, oh, he was like such the baby face, and so like, "Oh, you guys, you're so cool." That was awesome to see that character. Like, this act is so damn good. And the crowd was so into it. Like, I was so happy that, given that what had been with the crowd so far, where they wanted seemingly nothing but tables, to see that this was working with that crowd, it's like, oh yes, fantastic. When the bell rang, was a little bit of a different story, but I did love how Bray Wyatt's actions kind of changed it into almost the Miz being the heel for being angry, when in reality it's completely understandable that the Miz would be as angry as he is. It's like, oh yeah, I love the levels to this. It's top-notch stuff. For me, the Bray Wyatt character is amazing. This couldn't have been any more up my street. I myself couldn't stop watching the man during this entire time. The kind of like the match storytelling moments reaching a peak with Bray Wyatt goading the Miz to snap his arm back. Then afterwards, after the Miz did so, he bashes his arm into the barricade as if it had been dislocated and is trying to snap it back in. And during that whole time, the champion was laughing. Like, it was so unsettling when instead of seeing the wrestler in pain, we were met with laughter. Like, it was so unsettling. It then built with a brawl at ringside, and then the Miz was hit with a destroying Sister Abigail to a barricade. I'm an idiot. A destroying Sister Abigail, whilst the Miz was draped on a barricade. It's like, oh, that was a pretty awesome spot. Bray Wyatt then rolled into the ring. Did the paint me like one of your French girls pose that Minoru Suzuki did. Became famous for. He just lay in the ring, waiting, and the Miz got in the ring. Second sister Abigail, 1, 2, 3, and then he looked sad. Like Bray genuinely didn't want to hurt the Miz. Took his title, like give me that, but in terms of his actions towards the Miz, he genuinely looked sad for a minute, which is like, oh, this character's got so much to it. I love it. After the match, the Fiend showed up on the screen. It's like, oh, what's going on here? And Bray kind of seemed to have an internal conversation. He says, oh, I'll agree, I'll do it. And then he fetches the giant mallet from under the ring. Just tune out Michael Cole. For this entire bit, who reacts with, it's some kind of mallet. No, it is a mallet. What is this commentary? It's so weird. Especially in a show where so many things can be taken out from under the ring. And every time it's some kind of table. No, it's a table. The rope was the funniest one. That wasn't Cole, but it was still funny. But before like anything really happens, the lights go out and Wyatt they go out like the Fiend do, gradually. The Jew kind of stuff. And he starts kind of like, oh my god, he's here. This is amazing. Yes. And they totally got me. I just thought something would happen with the Fiend and it'd be kind of bog standing like that. But no, turns out it's not the Fiend. It's Daniel Bryan. And it's short-hair Daniel Bryan. He hits a running knee, pulls his hood down to reveal that he is short-hair Daniel Bryan once again. The Dragon is back, or at least the fully embracing the yes chants Daniel Bryan is back. To really loud Daniel Bryan chants. And just his entire mannerism, like the pure babyface Daniel Bryan was back. Full on yes chants and fully embracing them. Hitting his running drop kicks into the corner, a couple of running knees as well. The crowd chanting yes the entire time. Also, he did a stomp to the face where every single stomp got a yes chant. And then he picked up the mallet, and before he could deliver the swing, the light went out, came back on, and Bray disappeared. Cue Daniel Bryan just doing yes chants. The mallet was still there, and so was the title, but Daniel Bryan went around doing yes chants and then left with his new short hair. So, yeah. Well, at least Daniel Bryan has now got some kind of mallet. Michael. I say Michael because we heard that same kind of description later on in the show. That's when I was like, that must have been a line fed to him or something, because the exact same phrasing was used by a different commentator later on. So like, some kind of ... But yeah, this story and the way it's playing out, the way it's calling back, integrating everything and all different kind of assets to it. It's like, yes, it couldn't be any more up my street. And the Miz did an awesome promo earlier as well. I don't know, I'm mixing it up with what Renee said on SmackDown in her interview with him, saying that she was there and talking smack where Daniel Bryan and the Miz blew up, in like kind of emotions flaring out, and they had a massive falling out, became kind of bit of enemies. Like, why is there that kind of helping there? It's like, oh, they established characters so damn well. That whole thing with the doors as well was fantastic with the toy, and his promo tonight fed into it really well as well. And the match itself was right up my street. Yeah. Like, this is... I can see if you're somebody who watches wrestling for your 5-star matches, the Bray Wyatt stuff is... You're going to enjoy the television, but when it comes to pay-per-view, it's just not going to be for you, because it's 100% character. Very limited amount of wrestle. In terms of, like, your 5-star stuff, it's going to struggle... I think, I guess on One Nation Radio, I said 2, maximum 3... But that's the kind of range I'd see this falling for those kind of people. But for me, the character work is so damn strong. And that's what this match is all about, is that Bray Wyatt character. And everything about him is fantastic. So, yeah, right on my street. Loved it. So I wanted to just get this across, that this segment I absolutely loved. I was right in there, really enjoying myself. Because the final match I want to talk about is the opposite of that. From the moment the VTR started playing, that video package with the TMZ kind of style thing, like, I'm assuming it was edited well, but that is so not my thing that I immediately turn off when I see that kind of style of television. And it just cemented how much this feud, it's just not for me. So the final match of the night, yes, Buddy switched to it. Did I not switch to, there's There's Wyatt Miz. There we go. I didn't switch again. Aren't I cool? But let's turn them off. And let's put on Rusev Lashley. So let's put on Rusev Lashley. There we bloody go. The final match of the night. Time for me to go to sleep after this match. So, Rusev Lashley. Not for me at all. The entire feud. I watched the first week with kind of the reveals of what happened. I think it's the week where Bobby Lashley came out snogging Lana on the stage. I was like, well, that's weird. This isn't going to be for me, is it? Which, again, is perfectly fine. On a show with so much variety, I'm not going to enjoy everything. So what I just did, where I was like, yeah, no qualms, this just isn't for me. So every time this segment came up, I've just not watched it. I did I think it was like a quick brawl one week, where it was just Rusev beating the crap out of Bobby Lashley. Obviously, I need to be able to tell that that bollocks will happen. Sometimes you can't kind of see it. Like it's going to be divorce papers, or Lana's going to be doing a talking segment, or going to the massage room, or divorce court, or so, like, stuff like that. I'm like, right, yeah, you've advertised ahead of time that I don't need to watch this because it's not for me. But Bobby Lashley randomly destroying Rusev after a match, yeah, that was fine. That was perfectly fine that week. But the actual story parts, like, yeah, not for me. Not the end of the world. I just won't watch it. It's a massive show. I'm perfectly happy to have a bit every single week on a 3-hour show. I'm happy to have 5-10 minutes which I can wind through. That I'm fine with that. It's just not for me. But of course, pay-per-view live doing this show, I can't wind through this match. It's 100% not for me. So yeah, it started to pick up a bit when Rusev got slammed onto the guardrail. That looked vicious as hell. Which then got Bobby Lashley to whip out the kendo stick, and I'm going to move my phone because it's buzzing like mad. Sit on it. So then after that, Lashley got the kendo stick. He started, he drove Rusev to kendo stick lane. Kendo stick time is a bit more not crap, just a bit more. But yeah, and the welts on Rusev's back after those kendo stick shots, like, yeah, he really took some beating for this match. Like, kudos to you, Rusev. Like, really giving it to the craft. Like, even if I would rate the story as really bad. I think the phrase I've used before, and I used it when I guest on One Nation Radio to talk about it as well, that this storyline is the soap opera kind of stuff that I'm not particularly a massive fan of, but it's the soap opera storyline and WWE style of writing. WWE style of writing is mostly exposition, where people just speaking their feelings of, I like this, I don't like that, I like you, I don't like this person, I'll get on with this thing, I'm going to beat you up. As in, it's very, very exposition-y. That's like really, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, that's just how they write. But when you mix that in with such a soap opera storyline as this, they do not gel. And it creates a really bad presentation for it. Like, something needed to switch for this to work. And WWE's normal style of writing and this style of story and presentation of story, the mixture was always going to be like this. It was never going to turn out anything different. It's just not for me. And this match, I guess, played out fine. Had some beating up stuff. The one thing I'm not going to lie about is that I may not care about the story, but I'm not going to lie, Rusev gets massively over in every single angle they throw at him. It doesn't matter. He will get massively over, and he's done it again here. Like, kudos to that man. Towards the end, though, Lana jumped in. She jumped on Rusev's back, who would kind of snap back momentum and was organising tables. But that just worked as a distraction as Lana jumped off, and Bobby Lashley went to spear the Bulgarian through or onto a table. I was like, oh crap, well that didn't work. And then just reverse back, hit a belly to back suplex, and send Rusev through the other table in the corner. Yeah, Rusev had kindly set up. As it was a tables match, that meant that Lashley won. Lana worked as a distraction, and Lashley beat the crap out of Rusev. Oh well, Rusev. Like, if this kind of match was for you, seriously, was it good? Because the mist blinds me. I cannot judge it. I so don't care about this, and it's so not up my street that when the match happens, I just tune out away from watching it. Like, it's not for me. I'm fine in that world. Not everything has to be catered to my tastes. I just, didn't particularly care for it that much. So, Yeah. Right. That brings me to the end of the show, if I can bloody figure this out. Right, let's say goodbye to that one as well. Bang. Bang. There we go. Just to prove I'm saying goodbye. If you're listening up to the podcast form version, like a little bit of this show would have been utter nonsense. Just for what I was just talking about there. Anyway, thank you to everybody who's been listening to this entire show. So, like, just a quick 1 hour. I'm not going full Stephen Bell 2.5 hour crazy show for something like this. Yes, thank you for listening to it all. In terms of what is coming up, there's a fair little bit here on LOP Radio. I just need to get up my notes, check up everything. I just realised I've not got everything. Right, here we go. So this coming Thursday, I will be live with Keeping It Strong Style Boys, or the Kiss Boys, Jeremy Donovan and Joshua Young, the young boy. They will be joining me to talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling as I turn gears every single Thursday to Wrestle Kingdom. So I've got 3 shows on the trot. So, yes, even a show on Boxing Day, where I've very bravely booked Sam, who is Australian, which means I'll be up at 9 a.m. on Boxing Day to do a show. That is brave, I know. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so turning gears to New Japan. But do check out the other shows. Mondays is Kingdom of Honor with Jamin and Jeff. Tuesdays is a Global Revolution in the wider wrestling world. Wednesdays is Sports Entertainment is Dead, which will be wrapping up relatively soon, but it's got a load of pre-recorded shows. I don't know what point they'll finally end. Thursday is me, and Fridays is the right side of the pond with Mav and Mazza talking about WWE most of all. Saturdays is reserved for our AEW coverage. And live after AEW Dynamite, LOP Radio has our own immediate AEW review show, Dynamite After Dark, also with Jaman and Jeff. So check that out. And there's possibly an NXT show in the works. Depends on our NXT coverers' ability. Don't want to pump it up too much. Also, Laws of Pain end of year voting. I plugged it at the start, plugging it at the end. It's live. Go and vote in the end of year awards. So hopefully that's live by the time you're listening to this. And in terms of our coverage of Wrestle Kingdom, myself, Janman and Jeff will all be live after both nights of Wrestle Kingdom. On the 4th and the 5th, we'll have immediate live shows, both after Wrestle Kingdom, for both nights. That's not a bigger deal for me as it is for them. For me, that's lunchtime when the shows will be finishing. Yeah, that's not a bigger deal. That's perfectly good. For the Americans helping, they'll be watching all through the night, and we won't be live till like 7 a.m. Their America time. So it's a much different story for the Americans in Jaman and Jeff chipping in, but for me, I get up at like 6 or 7, and then I'm doing a show at lunchtime. What's the issue there? It's a perfectly happy day for Imp. Anyway, I think that's everything I really got to plug. Follow me on Twitter at the Damn Implicat. Thank you for listening to this show as I click away. I'll be back myself on Thursday with the Keeping It Strong Style Boys. Vote the end of year awards. What did you think of Tables, Ladders and Chairs? Did you enjoy it? Was the ending just a bit odd? Did you like a lot of the show and just tune out for like the end a bit like I did? Or what was your taste? This really felt like a variety show where it might be a lot more unanimous about the start, and then it kind of really goes all over the place in terms of people's opinion from there on in. Anyway, tell me what you think. I'm going to bed. I can't read much, so I need to click end stream whilst I can still read it. With that, I bid you adieu. Adios.